welcome back to Notier's Frontiers Diaries. Today we are heading east.
We
had 10 days to get to Virginia from Flagstaff, Arizona. So we are in the midst of that. We ended last time in Oklahoma City, and we had a bit of a problem with the motorcycle and the chain.
But it was resolved thanks to Oklahoma City KTM and the kind, caring people that Bill and Susan Dragoo are. Oh. Alrighty, we'll see you next time. And I walked out of there with a new jacket as well. I got a Revit Poseidon jacket. It was my first Gore-Tex jacket ever.
Yes, and it was going to come in handy very soon.
This is true.
Because as we headed east out of Oklahoma City, we traveled into Arkansas. And in Arkansas, that's when the greenery really started. The plains states kind of faded away into forests and trees. It was really beautiful, but it's also where the rain started.
And we lived in Arkansas for about 2 years, saving up for our adventures. And so we had done a lot of exploring. I wish we did some more in like the Ozarks and stuff, but we had to be at this expo so quickly.
Yeah, Arkansas is beautiful.
Yeah.
If we could have spent more time there, we definitely would have, because it is a gorgeous state and a gorgeous part of the country that definitely deserves exploring. But we had this very strict timeline, so we were just taking highways all the way east, which is really not all that fun.
No, but my uncle's cabin was our destination in the future in my head, and we had stayed there on our way back up from Florida when we went down to visit my mom and went down to Key West, and it was just this nice little remote cabin. So I had that was my eye on the prize, and if we got there quick enough, we'd be able to stay there a couple nights, and you know, the quickness through the last couple of days would have been paid in an extra days of bonus rest in a beautiful little wooden cabin.
Yes, we were really looking forward to that. And as the clouds got gloomier and gloomier ahead of us, we started really dreaming of that cabin.
Yeah.
We hit the rain.
The rain hit us.
Yes, that's it. The rain hit us.
And I was so thankful for my Poseidon jacket, and it's got this little gusset, and like I stayed 99% dry. It was something that I thought would be out of like folklore. I just didn't believe that there was any, because I've never, anytime I look at anything Gore-Tex, like I don't look at anything Gore-Tex because I can't afford it, and so why look at Mercedes when you know you're buying a used Mazda?
But you should look at things Gore-Tex now.
You should.
We've learned.
Oh yeah, no, it is definitely worth the price because
we've been going through plastic jackets, like basically garbage bags is what we've been using for years. You know, whatever plasticky rain type of jacket that we could find, and they would wear out quickly.
We had
just
Colombian ones. You wore the same Columbia one for 4 years.
I think it worked well during those years.
Yeah.
But it had come to the end of its life.
It did. It was starting to like shed its
Yeah.
whatever material, plasticky material, is made out of. All the laser welds on the sleeves were coming undone.
It was no longer waterproof. And so you were quite fine in your new Gore-Tex jacket.
This is true. Throughout our African travels, I had a KTM rain gear, jacket and pants setup that worked fairly well. It was really, really good compared to what I used to have.
Yeah.
But so now, since I had this new Poseidon jacket, Revit, awesome stuff, I was able to
Thankfully,
secondhand
lend me.
her that, and then I stayed dry all on my own. So.
It was way too big, but it didn't matter because
she looked
I
like
was
a little kid.
soaked. And
Yeah.
as we went through Arkansas, I got soaked to the bone, and it started getting kind of cold. And the combination of those two can be really dangerous.
If you know one thing about Marisa, she hates the cold and she hates being wet, and when
I
she's
do.
both at the same time, it's like feeding the gremlin after midnight. It's
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But it's not just emotionally I feel in a bad mood when I'm cold and wet, but physically I realized that I was getting to the point where my body was uncontrollably shaking. I couldn't stop my jaw from chattering. I couldn't warm myself up, and I think that's a dangerous point. If you have hours upon hours that you have to do in a day of being on the road, you can't do it wet and cold like that. You just,
No.
it's dangerous.
Well, and Marissa is always like 15 to 20 degrees colder than I am at any point in time. Because, like, I'm
Yeah.
up front and I'm like, oh, this kind of sucks. But, like, I'm not, like, on the verge of hypothermia or something, you know.
I
like,
was getting really cold, and we stopped.
Well, her
just at
body
a rest
doesn't
stop.
create its own body
Yeah,
heat.
that's
Like,
the problem.
That's
I'm just
half
a
the reason
cold
she
person.
married me is to bleed the body heat from me into her soul.
It's true. When we can't, we don't have separate sleeping bags because
It's one.
I can't make mine warm.
And then she touches me with her cold witch feet. And I can just feel my life force being drained.
But you know what? I do really well in warm climates.
That's true,
So-
and I don't. I sleep in like the hammock or outside some nights just because I'm just dying.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I do well in that, but I don't do well with the cold. So, it wasn't wintertime or anything, but I was feeling that my core was getting cold and there was no way for me to warm it
Well,
up.
there's like 85-mile-an-hour wind chill, So,
Well, also, yeah, I mean, we're going so fast. We have only highways to go on, and we had like 4 more hours that day. And so I was really thankful that you were able to give me your jacket, and I got dry. Some of the rain let up after a couple of hours, and so that's one nice thing of being on the motorcycle. You can let the wind kind of air dry you off as long as it's dry
and I had
wind.
cool little vents in my cool little Poseidon, it's just this microclimate chamber jacket that's like, ooh.
You were loving it. Yes.
I was, yes. If happiness can keep you dry, that might have been what was keeping me dry because I was 110% very, very comfortable and happy. So we did end up getting to my uncle's cabin.
We were very happy to be there.
It's so nice,
It is. And we wanted a rest. In the ideal world, we would have been able to have a rest. But we had only a few days left before the Overland Expo East. And there was something called the Blue Ridge Parkway on the East Coast that we had heard about, and it sounded pretty amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And I've heard about, we've spent very little time on the East Coast, and so there's Tail of the Dragon is a name that's popped up a bunch of times. The Blue Ridge Parkway, these are all things that I'm sure it's a pretty little drive for, an hour or whatever. But then I looked at the map of what the Blue Ridge Parkway was, and it's this huge, long, extended trail.
And we thought, are we going to have enough time to do that before the expo if we wanted to hang out here in the cabin?
Yeah, and another little fire under our buns was that, the weather for the next 5 days, the following day was the only one that looked like there was going to be any sunshine at all.
Yeah, and the weather was looking bad. But we thought, you know what, we're here, we're going to give it a shot. We're only maybe here once. You never know. And so we heard good things about this road. And even though the weather looked bad, we thought maybe we'll get a glimpse of something.
Yeah.
It's called the Blue Ridge Parkway because it goes along the ridge of the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah.
And ridges of mountains usually collect clouds. So when the weather forecast for the towns in the valleys was looking bad, we did not have a lot of hope for those mountaintops.
No, but in perspective, when we did Death Road in Bolivia, right, that, it was very cloudy and foggy, and you couldn't see down into the depth of doom and all the scariness. But it had its own romantic beauty to it of just floating through this cloud forest.
Absolutely.
And it was just amazing.
It was like you were on floating islands.
It was a movie script. It was it was like we're riding on the side of Mount Olympus. There's waterfalls coming down from unseen places. The clouds are right there. So I had a little bit of excitement knowing that I like scenery, and scenery is beautiful, but I also like the vast mystery of, fog and mist and clouds. And so I was down for it either which way. And I was hoping we'd get one day that was reasonably good. And then the next 3 days looked like,
that they might not be very good. But you know what? We lucked out.
One of the cool little places we rode through, and I didn't even notice, Marissa's got a good eye, but we rode through a town called Cherokee, and she was like, read the street signs,
It was in Cherokee.
It was so cool.
The Cherokee language of the Cherokee people, who are the Native American people of that region. And it was so cool. It's one of those alphabets that it was created later on. It's the written form of the Cherokee language, and it just looks amazing. It's not your normal Roman letters. Really, really beautiful. And I just thought that was so nice that the signs had the Cherokee on it.
That was really cool.
Yeah. As we headed north from Georgia onto the Blue Ridge Parkway, you actually go through a bit of the Smoky Mountains. And we debated, should we take this detour and skip some of the Blue Ridge to go through the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, which also has beautiful, beautiful roads. But we decided, let's just stick to the Blue Ridge this time. We can always go back and do that another time.
Yeah, and I did, and we want to do it at some point in time, but I watched a little YouTube video of a guy who did the Smoky Mountain ride, and then in a comparison to the Blue Ridge Mountain, and just the traffic on the Great Smoky Mountain scenic route.
Insane.
He's just, he got the camera, GoPro himself, and he's like, and it's just a line of cars, and then the next shot was him on the Blue Ridge Mountain, just like, this is nice,
And that's what the Blue Ridge was like for us. So we did get to see some of the Smoky Mountains as we headed into the Blue Ridge, but for me, it was all smoky in that there was mist clouds covering the tops of the mountains, but in these beautiful clumps and tendrils just kind of wafting around.
Many tendrils wafting.
And then the sunshine would come through every once in a while, and there was barely any traffic once we got onto the Blue Ridge. It was beautiful.
It was amazing. Hey, so we are doing the Blue Ridge Parkway. The colors of the leaves are almost changing. They're almost there. In about a week, I'm sure they'll be much more beautiful. But it's
pretty stunning though already.
It is. It's like popcorn that's just about to burst.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And this first day on it was a beautiful introduction to it, but we just had so much more ahead of us.
Yeah.
We were so excited for the next day. We stayed in a campground called Bear Den Family Campground that night. This is our campsite. We haven't set up yet, but we will be setting up soon. We're in North Carolina, right? It was a really nice place. They had all sorts of facilities there. They even had a pond, and it had some big fish. Big koi fish there. And we had our little dinner, and we were just really happy.
Shower there for Marissa. I didn't shower.
I do enjoy my showers. It's very important to me. But it was nice to think about all the worries that we had going into the Blue Ridge Parkway about the weather and the rain, how we just had rain and rain for days, and we were so sick of it. But it actually turned out to be, I think, a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it created this mist and mystery to these mountains, and we were so excited for the next day.
Yeah.
Even though the weather forecast was even bleaker.
Before we pulled into Bear Den, I went to a gas station, and you know how you undo the gas pump and it's like, hey, this is Tom with the annoying channel that pops up when you pump gas, you know?
Yeah.
But it had like the 5-day weather forecast, and it was just...
Oh, yeah.
It was just like lightning bolts and thunder. And
it looked like the end of the world.
I know.
They had these little pictures that were like flashing, like, no. And we thought, oh, that doesn't look good. But normally we don't check the weather. We just go for it. But this time it was a bit disconcerting.
Forced upon us by the gas station.
Yes.
Touchless screen. But we had nothing, you know, we were already on it. We had a beautiful day. We were nothing but excited for what was to come. Because, I mean, you know, like, half the time we're ever on the road, the weather is wrong. Let it be for the good or for the bad. So there was optimism, and there was hope, and there was excitement.
We will see in the next episode. So I hope you liked this episode. If you did, please give us a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button below. And thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Until then, have a great
Have a great...
Bye.
Peace.